We're not gonna get away with this, are we?
Let's talk about Transistor. Transistor is a game from 2014 by Supergiant Games. You may know Supergiant Games from titles such as Hades. Transistor is a stunning game that just makes me want to come back to whenever I listen to the music. And yeah, the music is good, but I wouldn't want to come back to it so much if the game itself wasn't good as well. I make this video simply because I want to talk about Transistor so badly. And if I interest some new people into the game, that'll be a plus. The revenue is well deserved for this one. Minor story spoilers ahead. Transistor plays a bit like a turn-based game, while also not being turn-based. You'll walk through the city, occasionally come across enemies. You have an ability called Turn, which pauses time in order for you to map out any action you want to take with your current setup. Your actions all have an action point cost to them, so map them wisely. After mapping out your actions, you can unpause and you will speed through them, without giving the enemies a chance to retaliate. Then there's a short period where you're unable to use your abilities at all. Throughout the game, you will encounter several different enemies. As you go through the game, earlier enemies will be upgraded. The Clucker, for example, is an enemy that tries to stay distant more to you from afar. Later in the game, they acquire the ability to disrupt turn in an area, leaving you unable to use it as long as you're in the field that the Clucker leaves. Each enemy poses a specific threat that makes them priority, depending on the case. The Clucker is a low priority, easy enough to avoid. The Fetch is always a high priority, almost all the time, because it gains the ability to stun you and go invisible, where you can't hit it at all. Whenever you have the chance, the dog needs to be put down as fast as possible. However, on your side of abilities, it's a rather interesting system. You have 4 slots and many different functions you can slot there. However, you can also slot enhancements to your base functions as well as passives. Each function has an effect for being the base, the enhancement, and as a passive. It leaves massive amounts of build variety while still seeming simple on the surface. The only restriction you have is memory, or mem as referred to in-game. Each function has a set memory cost when slotted, no matter what type of slot it's in. If you cannot fit a function in with the remaining memory that you have, you either have to make space or not use that function. And when your health is reduced to 0, you're brought back to full health, but the function requiring the most memory is broken and cannot be equipped for a few access points, or save points. If you run out of functions, it is game over. It's a rather lenient system, and I honestly just really like how it turned out. It's like, I really like the idea of you having this base thing, and then you can just put things together onto it and make it better with these other specific things having specific effects on that thing. It is just really cool to me. The city of Cloudbank is a highly democratic society. The people there choose everything. They vote on everything from the color of the sky to the weather of the day. But as the Camerata say, when everything changes, nothing changes. And with the voting happening all the time, it may be red skies and snowy one day, but green skies and clear another. Everything is changing all the time. And the Camerata believed this to make the city pointless. They felt the need to enforce stability on the city of Cloudbank in order to give it a point. With the city being run democratically through public terminals, they needed to bypass all that.
You turn left. Thought we were gonna skip town. We're going back there. And then these things. They do not have a sense of humor.
Insert the process. The process are the machines that make the voting successful in the first place. If people want a bridge, the process builds it. So whoever controls the process controls the city. Now, how do you control the process? That lies with the Transistor, which is a sword of sorts. The Camerata got a hold of the Transistor to control the process so that they could end the endless cycles of the city's appearance and functionality. However, without the Transistor connected to its birthplace keeping them in line, the process did what any other machine does and followed its programming. It began transforming the city into what it views as the ideal form. Blank slate that's easily moldable into whatever is needed. As the bridge was brought up before, you may need a bridge to get from point A to point B. So having a blank slate that can easily be molded into that bridge is exactly what is needed. And so that's the kind of thing that the process did. The Camerata needed the Transistor more powerful before they could truly begin to use it to fix Cloudbank. The Transistor possesses the ability to increase its functionality with traces, or the souls of the recently deceased. The Camerata begin to use the Transistor to take out talented individuals for the most power, or to take out anyone who opposes them. You play as Red, a singer of slight controversy. A very talented singer at that, which made you target of the Camerata despite controversial pieces maybe aligning a little with their interests. I don't know. I don't honestly see why they didn't just bring you into the Camerata. I mean, like, the thing with that is that you as Red probably wouldn't want to be a part of the Camerata, but your views do kind of align. Like, Red doesn't like Cloudbank a whole lot, and when you are attacked during a show, you are protected by a nobody. You do not possess the one thing that can stop the process, the Transistor. But unfortunately, that's not without a cost. You lost your voice for it. The voice, the one thing that you use to spread your word. And that's about as far as I can go into it without going into every tiny little detail on how exactly everything went wrong and going into the ending and everything. Yeah, there's a lot to the story, and it's really cool, and I think the story is probably worth playing just for the story. But if you want a highly in-depth explanation of the story, hopefully giving you played and beaten the game before, because yeah, major spoilers in this. I got a link in the description to a Steam post that goes very, very in depth about everything about the story of Transistor. I've based a lot of this section on the word of that one post, so thanks to a certain Reaper with no name for that one. Short little chapter here, but like the visuals, you've been able to see some of them in the background footage here, but the style of the game is absolutely stunning. Like, it's immaculate. They have moments where you can just like take a second to just look off into the city of Cloudbank, see the lights in the distance, and there's just little moments where you can sit back without the process attacking you and just watch the beautiful city. Little scenes where you can get a little closer to the designs of Red and the Transistor itself. The music. You've heard it running in the background. These pieces by Darren Korb and the voice of Ashley Barrett working together, certain songs, to create the masterful and lovely music of this game. Old Friends is probably one of my favorite openings of all time, and the use of lyrics and reminiscent or otherwise important pieces is an absolute stroke of genius. Because like we all become in circles, the spine, paper boats, and signals being the lyrical ones. Red has no voice, so she can sing these pieces like during the gameplay. So they have to be pieces where it's just remembering the past, remembering moments when she was still a star and not on the run, trying to get her voice back. Something that has zero use in gameplay but is a great touch is that you can just hold down a button, like on a keyboard it's tab, but it causes Red to hum any piece that it's currently playing. Every single one has a hummed version, and like that's pretty committed. The hummed versions always play in turn, which means it's pretty nice, because even if you completely forget that is a feature that exists, you can still hear the hummed versions. And like it's especially nice during bosses where you certainly don't have any time to hold down tab and just stand there humming your ass off while fucking Sybil just sits there or something. Overall, the work put into music is very lovely, and it's what always makes me want to come back to the game. Because I will not listen to the soundtrack for quite some time, and then I'll put it on, and hey look, suddenly I want to play the game again. It really is just that good. Transistor is definitely in my top 10 of all time. Every single piece of it is meticulously crafted to make one of the best games I've ever played. I love this game in pieces, and having a reason like this video to play again was super nice. I've gone through it like 3 or 4 times, and like it's been what, something like 3 years, 2? It's a good game. The point is, you should take a chance if you ever have a chance to look at it on Steam, and probably buy it would be the best option. But like obviously you can't always do that. But yeah, it's worth it in my opinion. That's all I have to say about it. It's a really good game. You should play it. And yeah. Thanks for watching this far. Consider liking the video, leaving a comment, subscribing, whatever you feel like. I don't expect traction here, but that doesn't matter to me. Take care. Have a good one.